Diversity in designing and assessing learning activities. As a teachers, there are many methodologies, approaches, and techniques that aim to maximize the potential and improve academic performance of students. The challenge for the teacher is selecting and applying the most effective method of teaching learners with diverse characteristics. One can draw from Gardner's theory of multi-intelligence and another that is posed on the multiplicity of intelligence as basis for selecting the best teaching methods and approach. The teacher should be keen on identifying behavioral indicators of talent, ability, or interest along a certain field and once identified, focus on developing those talents using appropriate methodologies. Learner-centered teaching is claimed to be at the core of an effective classroom. The learner-centered teaching, the trust of teaching, planning, and assessment is built around the needs and ability of students. A significant idea of this framework is that learning becomes more meaningful when topics are related to the students' lives, experience, need, and interests. And when students are actively engaged in creating, understanding, and connecting to knowledge. Instead of the teachers acting as the sole giver of information as it used to be, he shares control of the classrooms and allows the students to be active, to explore, experiment, and discover on their own. They can do this in alone or with peers. Now let's talk about the benefits of implementing methodologies aligned with the important aspect of learner-centered teachings. Number one is effective instructions for every member of the classrooms, irrespective of diverse learning needs. Second is learner-centered teaching has been proven effective in teaching students the materials they need to know. Third is learner-centered teaching makes the student feel good about themselves because students discovers personal experience and other inputs relevant and meaningful to themselves are included as materials in the teaching learner process. Their self-confidence is further developed. Now let's talk about the approaches that promote a learner-centered environment. First is cooperative learning. Allows the students to work off on which others' abilities and knowledge. Emphasis is on the students rather than on the teachers. Second is active learning. Hinges on students' active participation in the learning process for learning to be effective. Third is authentic learning. Ensures that lessons are directly applicable to the students' lives, needs, and desires. Make use of local or community resources as lesson content. Lastly is cognitive apprenticeship. Puts students in control of direction of their learning. They are guided by a coach or a tutor who will help them meet their own goals. Now let's talk about the diversity. Diversity. Diversity is needs and abilities among students is respectively much bigger if there are students with special needs, the normal kids, and with the special needs. This is the picture of the composition of classrooms in the future. A classroom with a mix of students with and without special needs. As the teacher may not have the technical training on how to deal with the children with special needs. Be as may, there are in general guidelines or principle on how to make the classroom environment conducive to learning for these students, as well as the methodologies of teaching or intervention appropriate for the kinds of special needs they have. Analyzing students' error in written or oral assessment is helpful in determining their difficulties in processing. Rather than looking at answers simply as wrong, teachers should look closely at errors for clues on the student's processing difficulties. By analyzing student errors, the student will be able to determine the manner in which the students approach a problem or what steps were taken by the students to strive to arrive at the solution of the problem. Let's talk about the kinds of disabilities. First is the attention deficit and hyper disorders. This is this students with have disorder as lack of focus and low im, low academic performance. Next is the the speech and oral impairments. This video im, this video implies the the oral communication disorders. First to know is the stuttering, self-conscious, and feel embarrassed. Next is the physical impairment. If we notice the video, the students is using assistive technology, and the other one is using the chair or the wheelchair. Next is the gifted, or that have an average 180 above. Feeling ko mas umapay kung dagdag ko dito ni this.